Live.
Sorry, I was
All
a bit
right,
late today.
everybody, welcome to lesson number 3.
Yay.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything we need to talk about before we start this quiz? Or
Hello, guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
all right, cool. Let's start then. Does someone want to read question 1?
Let me
Yep.
go to the quiz.
The forces that make market economies work are. I chose the third one.
Supply and demand.
Yeah.
What I'd say.
That's what I chose too.
Same.
Well,
The
good.
highest form of competition.
I just opened it. Yeah, I agree. So the other ones are funny. Work and leisure.
The highest form of competition is called. I chose the third one. Perfect competition.
I agree.
Perfect competition.
Yep.
For the second one? Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
too.
for number 2. And then number 3, demand for a good service or service is determined by, so demand is brought about by the first one, those who buy the good or service.
Exactly.
Although it is kind of a tricky one because it says, the fourth one says that both those who buy and those who sell goods or services.
Yeah, I was tossing up between those two as well, A and D.
Yeah.
So, because technically speaking, you can affect the demand by reducing your supply. But I don't know why you would want to do that. I guess there are some cases. I don't know. What do you guys feel like?
Yeah, I think that's right, because that also takes into account price. And I mean, with scarcity, you can drive up price if the demand is there. I'm inclined to say the fourth one, but I'll probably go back and review it, like in the textbook. But I think that would be right.
The
I'm
fourth
sticking
one?
with A.
Split decision.
Yeah.
Just because it's specifically talking about demand. And while affecting supply and everything and price, you could, but I feel like after just studying material, A would be the right answer. Personally.
It might be. I'm torn between that and the third one. Or excuse me, the fourth one.
Yeah.
A or D, you decide.
Like I said, I'm not going to submit it at the end. I'll probably go back and review some stuff. So I think.
Yeah.
All right, let's do 4 then. Are we settled on that answer?
I think enough. And I mean, honestly, we don't all have to agree. Like, this is our own to submit. So if one of us thinks something else, like, we can go with that.
Yeah.
All right, number 4. Most studies indicate that tobacco and marijuana tend to be, and then I said B, complements. And I found that one in the book.
I chose the first one. Substitutes.
Substitutes.
Yeah, I think substitutes. Because if you're wanting nicotine, you can switch from one to the other to get that.
Sure.
I would look at a complementary product as maybe a good example would be like, those like Kodak, like instant film cameras, like the instant film would be a complement for the camera, things like that. Like you kind of need them to go together, like the products complement each other a little more, but I would guess that this is substitutes.
I found it in the book. Let me find it for you because it says complements straight out of the book.
Yeah.
Oh,
right out of the book, it says complements. It does say that a lot of people would think that it's substitutes because of the nicotine or whatever.
Yeah.
But marijuana is a harder drug, and tobacco is considered gateway. And so, due to that fact, they're considered complements. And the fact is, when tobacco sales go down, so do marijuana sales. And when tobacco sales go up, so do marijuana sales.
Really? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, if it's
So,
in the
I
book
mean-
like that, then absolutely.
Yeah, so it's complements. I actually read it this morning. I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's what I thought
Interesting,
too, because I thought it would be substitute, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
yeah.
cool.
Okay.
Okay. The following table contains a demand schedule for a good. If the law of demand applies to this good, then Q1 could be
0.
0.
I said 0 as well.
cool.
0.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions on that?
I just haven't read it yet, so yeah, I will.
All right, next question.
So it shows the demand curve for a given product, and then the movement from DA to DB is caused by, and something that the book pointed out that just really stood out to me on these is the only thing that can move a demand or supply curve is something that is not listed on the X or Y axis. So the fact that we have price and quantity means that those two are automatically wrong. So there's
Okay,
two
interesting.
there's two price answers there, and then there's two other answers there.
Well, couldn't does the fact that the third one refers to a complement like have any effect, or is it like any time price or quantity is mentioned, regardless of what the product is, like there's no effect in this situation? Because I would be, with my small understanding of supply and demand, I'd be inclined to think that the price of a complement can increase or decrease demand for its complement.
I went with
But I
income
might be wrong. What?
So the one that I came up with was the decrease in income.
as well.
And this is
That also
because
makes sense.
we're not looking at projections here. We're looking at strictly supply and demand. And while price can affect the supply and demand, it's listed on one of the axes, and it's not going to drop the curve like that. It's going to change the point on the curve. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the third answer, C, is actually looking at projections. So we know that one's wrong. And then the two that deal with price are wrong because it's listed on the axes. So it means that a decrease in income. And it is actually listed in the book as well. Income is a big factor for moving the different curves. So
Well, especially, I just realized that, so it's DA to DB, so like the demand is increasing and it's assuming the good is inferior. So yeah, that fits in line with reduced income, an increase in a good for something like tuna fish, which is an inferior good, would increase. So yeah, that totally makes sense.
I can do the next one. So for number 7, I went with A. And the reason for that, if you just look at the price point for $10 and you just add the quantities demanded straight across the board, it adds up to 20. And then you can tell that there's a little dot right at 10, referring to the price. And so that's the only one that really matches up.
Agreed.
yeah, also
Fair
if
enough.
you look
I said
at the chart as well,
That's what I did.
there's not a zero amount on the chart anywhere.
True.
Yep.
And so the other three charts also have both zero
Zero
amounts.
quantities.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Cool.
For 8, I have D. The price of a complementary good has decreased.
I'm gonna scroll down.
quantity.
What number did you say you chose?
This one for number 8.
The fourth one.
Yeah, the fourth one.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then for 9, it's kind of the opposite of number 3 that I think Matt was talking about earlier. So the quantity supplied of a good is the amount of that. And I went with the fourth one again. Sellers are willing and able to sell.
That
It
sounds
just
great.
switched from quantity demanded to quantity supplied.
It says that one in the book too.
Yeah, that's basically a straight definition.
Yeah.
Sweet. I'll read 10. Today's supply curve for iPods could shift in response to a change in today's price of iPods, the expected future price of iPods, the number of buyers of iPods, or D, all of the above are correct. Supply curve. I need to read more to get brushed up on this. I feel like it's super basic though.
It really
said
is. This
B?
week,
Yeah, I said B, the expected future price of iPods.
Me too.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this week was a lot easier than last week's.
Oh yeah,
Agreed.
that.
And no one has any questions so far, right?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Just making sure. For 11, I have D. For the sale on a chicken would cause a move from Y to X, because you're seeing an increase in demand by lowering the price.
You said what number?
Quantity
The
demanded.
letter?
D, the fourth one. Y to X.
Why did you say that again?
So if you look at the diagram, you can tell that the quantity is increasing because the price is going down. So it's becoming more affordable.
Yep.
People are buying more of it.
However, if you read the question carefully, the diagram below pertains to the demand for turkey in the United States, not for chicken.
I
So
know.
all else equal, a sale on chicken would cause the
The
demand,
demand
for
for
turkey.
turkey to go down.
I actually didn't
Go
notice that.
down.
I'm glad you pointed
So
that out.
I went with
it
A.
would
Yeah.
it would actually be a move from Delta Alpha to Delta Bravo.
I hate it when they're so sneaky like that. Like, you know, you just kind of like
A then?
skim over the chart, like, oh yeah, here's the demand for it. Yeah.
A sale on one bird causes the demand for another bird to go down.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So A is what
Yeah.
you're saying?
I would go with A.
Me too.
DA to DB. Yeah. I would think so. That's funny. Good eye for detail there.
That was 11, right?
Hey.
I think I would have missed that. Yeah.
Yeah.
To my quiz.
Yeah.
Okay.
12. If there are only 4 sellers in the market, then the market quantity supplied at the price of $10 is, I said 44 units.
So did I.
25. Yep.
Same.
Oh, good.
Cool.
Glad we all know how to add.
Thank goodness.
Rightward shift of the supply curve is called A or AM. And then I went with, what did I say? Oh, an increase in supply.
Decrease in supply. I chose B, the second one.
You said a decrease in supply?
No, that would be to the left.
Yeah.
I said the book said right is increase, left is decrease.
Maybe
Yeah.
I chose the wrong one there. Let me see. I
No,
have the
if it
quiz
was-
open on one and my notes on the other.
Oh no, it's all good, man.
You're good.
So if they had said demand curve, then it would have been a decrease, is right word.
No, I think it still would have been an increase.
Is it?
Something to think about.
Because I read it literally says in the book, right is increase.
Increase
both the
left.
supply
Yeah,
and
I
left
think
is
I think you're
decrease.
right, Morgan.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I wrote
actually.
that down because I needed that.
Yeah, either way,
I
it's,
was like,
Supply,
this is going to
demand.
be on the test.
it's looking
No,
at the
I-
x-axis. And
It's
the
an
x-axis left or right.
An
Yeah.
increase in supply.
Or is it, this is one of the things I got tripped up on last semester with microeconomics, like supply and demand versus quantity supplied and quantity demanded. Like sometimes like I still trip up on those. But
Oh,
it
yeah.
wouldn't be increase in quantity supplied.
Yeah, I looked at that and I thought about it, but I think it's more specified into supplied as opposed to quantity supplied.
Okay.
At least that's just what I thought.
Okay.
I considered both.
I
Yeah,
need to like
because-
watch some YouTube videos to like solidify my understanding on those 2 points. So
Definition of terms, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then also they don't mention the demand curve at all either. So
Yeah.
And what's actually being supplied. So if it said a rightward shift in the supply curve would cause quantity to do what, then we could look at it. And then there would be multiple possibilities because it doesn't give us anything about the demand curve.
Mm.
Usually, if you're talking about quantity supplied or demand supplied, you're looking, you have terminology for both demand and supply and demand in the question, from what I found.
thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
I don't know. That's just me.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. For number 14, which supply schedules obey the law of supply? So basically, you have to decide which ones work and which ones don't, and which combination fits which letter. And I said the combination that works was the D, firms B and firms D only.
That's what I said too.
That's what I have.
Yep.
Good.
Cool.
I don't know what C's doing. That's kind of like doing this little point and going down again.
Yeah, it's really
Doesn't fit either.
all
That is
over the
weird.
place. They must have some wacky suppliers for product.
Or poor economies of scale,
Yeah.
potentially.
Well, then A is backwards.
Yeah, it's
Oh yeah.
A's for like the law of demand.
Okay.
15, it says the
15.
unique point at which the supply and demand curve intersects is called, and then it's equilibrium.
Yep.
Equilibrium, not liquibrium.
Coincidence. I like that.
Market harmony.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That sounds so heartwarming.
I don't know. That sounds like a dating website to me. I don't know why, but anyway.
Probably because of eHarmony.
Oh, that's why. Oh,
Yeah,
All
I
right.
don't use it. I'm not that desperate yet, but you know. Okay. If you refer to the figures above, there would be a
The price is
surplus of
35.
surplus of 400 units.
Yes.
why 400?
Okay.
That's what I said too.
Because
Okay.
that's the gap between the supply and demand line at the price of $35.
From what point to what point? I don't know.
So
Just
if you look
curious.
at both the supply and demand curves, at
Uh-huh.
$35, there's a
Right.
gap, a unit gap of 400 in quantity if you look down at quantity. Yeah, so if you like,
DCF?
Oh, I see. Oh, I see.
okay, yeah.
I was measuring it from where the equilibrium point is to where the
Yeah.
edge of the
Oh, yeah.
35. That's where I
Okay.
saw 200. Whereas the whole
Yeah,
gap
it's
itself.
tricky that way. Yeah.
Yep.
You have
Okay.
to look at the 2 points on the 2 lines and then subtract the 2.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. 16. Okay. 17. Which of the following movements would illustrate the effect in the market for fences of a decrease in the price of wood?
So that would make the demand go up, right? Because it's cheap, they want to buy it. Or is that all right?
I think
It would increase supply too, though, wouldn't it? Like if their cost goes down, then they can supply more.
Here's where it gets tricky because it's talking about points at this point.
yes.
Yeah.
So
That's true. Oh, okay.
So
if you say there's an increase in demand, you could either say it's point A to point B or point like A to D
yeah,
in that sense, or even D to C.
So I went with the first one, point A to B.
That's what I said.
Because it says a decrease in the price. And looking at the points, like D would mean an increase in the price, C stays constant,
Oh, yeah,
and B
that's
is the
true.
only one where it would decrease.
Good reasoning.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
A to B.
All right, 18. We got another turkey problem here. And it's turkey to turkey this time.
Yes, no
Yeah.
chickens.
I
That's
went
No
with
just
chickens
got one
involved.
Oh,
This
one
is the
fowl.
one I was supposed to have D on, where it was Y to X.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
Because increase in productivity would mean a higher quantity, and because they have a large supply, you would expect price to go down. There's my reasoning for it.
No, that makes sense.
Yep.
Is that what everyone else has?
Y to
I
X.
agree with that. I think.
Makes sense, yeah.
I'm here. I'm here.
Mhm. Oh. I hate how small the window is to look at all these
Yeah.
problems with the graphs because you have to like scroll so much.
Well, did you open the Word document or the link?
Oh yeah, there is that one. I didn't get a chance to open it. I ran late for work today, and so I basically just hopped on and opened the quiz. I've gone through it. I went through it
Yeah.
at work today, so I mean I have all my answers, but it's
I
still
agree
nice
with
to
you.
see the entire problem.
The new formatting on Ireland isn't user friendly.
It hasn't been for a couple years now.
It's gotten worse.
Definitely a 2.0 fan right here.
Agreed.
Oh yeah.
So for the last one, I have D, panel D, because it asks which of the 4 panels illustrates a decrease in quantity supplied.
I said that as
Panel
well.
D. Yeah.
You can
I
see
see panel.
supply is decreased, price is increased.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last one, which of these statements does not apply to market economies? I chose the third. Prices ensure that anyone who wants a product can get it. If that was the case, I would have a lot of stuff.
I know.
Yeah, I
I
know.
would have the Porsche I want.
Same.
All right.
Okay. Cool.
Excuse me.
And anything else anyone wants to discuss?
Not that I can think of.
No.
Okay.
I have
But
a
just so you
question.
guys know,
Matt, what is the teacher's email about submitting this link? Where do I need to do it?
Okay, so what you have to do. Oh, before I get into
You have
that,
to
I
put it
just
on the
submitted
discussion
it.
board.
19 out of 20. So we only missed one
What?
as a group. I just
Does
submitted
it-
it as it
Does
was.
it say which
before.
one?
No, it
it
doesn't
won't
tell
give
you.
you
No,
the
it doesn't
answers.
tell you.
No.
Darn it.
It's like last week.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So if you go to so it's under due date 1, and then
Okay.
lesson 3 group collaboration.
You put it in
And
that
then-
like discussion board?
Yeah. So
Yep.
you would just go ahead and put it in that discussion board with the names of everybody who made it to the
Attended.
meeting.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, you know it tells you which one you missed. Like you can view the quiz
Can you?
if you want. So if you just click on quizzes, once you have like your island open and you're like in the course,
Excuse me.
you just find it. And so you look on, I don't know, like you can look at group 2, for example, and you click on it, and then it takes you to a page. It'll look like this. Right? Oh,
We
you
can't see it. It
that.
just
What
looks
am I
like
doing?
white.
Can you see that now? It's just
Yeah.
like
Oh,
the
yeah.
standard page. And so when you're in the standard page and you scroll down and it says like, oh, allowed one time, completed one time,
That's right.
click on that arrow at the very top next to the title. It'll say submissions or reports. And when you click on submissions, it'll show you the attempts, and then you can click right there on attempt 1 and see
I
all
think-
which ones you got wrong.
Oh, there we go.
I think you
Oh,
We can take it
Yeah.
twice, right?
Just once.
Just one
this
time.
one.
Oh, okay.
Can you
Wait,
see
I
which
still
one you
didn't
got
get it.
wrong?
What?
I didn't get what you said. Can you repeat?
Yeah. If you're in iLearn and you go to your assignments and you like click on the quizzes, you can open it up again.
Yeah.
You can't retake it, but you can look at how you did. And you can look at the individual questions. So you'll click on quizzes, you'll find the assignment you want to look at, and then right next to the title, it'll say like, oh, lesson 2 group quiz or lesson 3 group quiz. There's going to be a little arrow facing down. When you click on that, it'll say either submissions or reports. If you click on submissions, it'll show
Yeah.
a little
I've seen
blue link at the bottom, and then you can open it up through there.
it. Okay.
Yeah, but it won't actually show you the ones you got wrong until after the due date.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's how it works. It
Uh,
has to be after the.
That's
bummer.
unfortunate.
So it'll be a good study tool for doing
Exactly.
tests and things, but we can't see it directly after we're done.